Hello, everybody. My name is Anissa. I am your resident sassy coffee queen, and thank you for joining me for This Is All Anissa, a video series where I bring you tips and tricks to make your life easier, less stressful, and find ways to bring you joy. I am an amateur advice giver who's been working in the events and hospitality industry for too many years to politely count, and I love giving free advice and sharing my reflections of my industry and the world with you. And today I have a tip for today for you about something that is near and dear to my heart. But I must ask a favor before we start. My big idea comes at the end. So if you can bear with me, stay with me all the way to the end, because that's when the big idea is revealed. There's really good stuff in between, but the big idea is at the end. So stay with me. So, like I said, it's a tip that is near and dear to my heart, which is volunteering. Now, in the events industry, I am sure you're quite aware that the hospitality industry and events industry is pretty much non-functional right now in the live events world. In most areas of the world, we are not allowed to gather for more than, 25 people indoors at this point, maybe a little bit more depending on where you are. Outdoor events are happening a little bit larger than that, but definitely not a whole lot of large meetings are going on, and definitely not the type of citywide meetings, which I used to book previous to this, and definitely not the type of meetings I used to attend, right? But one thing that we used to do in live events that I want to talk about that we can do in virtual events now are called CSR projects. And CSR project stands for Corporate Social Responsibility, for those who don't know. They were projects that were started by corporations because corporations have a responsibility to provide well-being to their immediate community that is outside their own money-making ideas. So it was started there, and the events industry sort of took this CSR over and created it and morphed it into their own way. So associations and organizations have CSR projects of their own that they do as organizations, but as an event, many times they will go into a city and they will have one or more CSR projects that they do in that city to benefit the city that they are in, which is great when you are live and meeting live and you have live events and you can do them. Now, they are always typically size limited in the city, and they're great value adds when you're meeting live because they are things that your attendees can network at with like-minded attendees who are into service projects as well. So that's all fun and good, but they're always size limited because you can't have, if you have a conference of 5,000, you can't have 5,000 people volunteering at the food bank. Food bank doesn't have work for 5,000 people or the facility to hold you, right? So that's not going to happen. So a lot of times events would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 smaller projects or just one project, and it would be limited in size. Now, what I do with Nifty Method Marketing and Events, which is where I'm working right now, is we are helping people find virtual platforms that fit for their virtual meeting, but we're also helping them with event strategy and design, including attendee engagement. And CSR projects can be virtual. So we've always done it live and it's been sort of limited in size, but it no longer has to be limited in size because it's virtual. So you can include everybody on your platform in your project. And there's a lot of ideas and ways to do that. And that's where a company like Nifty Method can help you out. And instead of just designing a game or a poll or something like that, or a survey to entice attendee engagement, you can use a CSR project as your attendee engagement. And that's where we can help you tie those kinds of missions for your organization with your challenges of attendee engagement together. Now, I said, hold on, because my big idea was coming. That's not it. Although it seems like a big idea to some, that is not my big idea, okay? It's coming, I promise. So when you're planning your virtual meeting, do not forget that CSRs can be used for attendee engagement. Okay? Now, here's the big idea. Are you ready? I'm gonna adjust my glasses for this. The big idea is this. I'm going to suggest to you that your large conventions that would do a CSR project were already scheduled before COVID-19 hit. Most likely, almost 100% guaranteed. You are now using one of the words that I hate most in the world, pivoting. I thought I hated it when Ross from Friends used it, but I hated it because it was funny. Now I just hate it. So you're pivoting to the virtual world, and you are trying to find a way to make your live event relative and attractive and cost efficient and all that stuff in the virtual world. And it is a big, giant challenge. Well, it was scheduled in a city. You had to negotiate to get out of that contract, and it's been a giant nightmare for you. But what if you did this? What if you adopted that city? Seriously, as your city of destination anyway. Or if it was a bad negotiation, which it might have been, you might want to adopt like the president of your organization's city, or a city in every region that your organization represents, whatever you want. But adopt a city that you can't be in right now, and create a CSR project by reaching out to the Convention and Visitors Bureau in that city and say, what organization do you have in your city that can benefit from a virtual CSR project? And use your CVB to create a project where you can tie back into the city that is losing that revenue that they so desperately need right now. And you can keep that city top of mind and relevant to all of your attendees, because someday we are going to go back to the live world, and hopefully you've rescheduled that meeting and it didn't just get canceled. It's rescheduled in that city at a later date. So this is going to sort of drive interest for that for future meetings. But also you can then take it a step forward, because you're not doing the food and beverage dollars, and I know you're using the money for technology and it's just been, used in other ways. But maybe you can ask your CVB to, with the right price point, to prepare a package of local flavors, something that is true to the flavor of that city that can be sent to your attendees with the CSR directions or whatever you're going to be doing project, and make it a CSR project with the local flavors of the city. So the CSR project can benefit the city you should have been in. The CVB can help you do that, and they can help get products from the city. So you can give back to the city that desperately needs your help right now. Not in the same way, not with the same economic impact you were going to make, but it is a way that we can start reaching out and bridging that gap between the live and the virtual world and keeping that connection going. Because I do not think we're going to be virtual forever, nor do I think we're going to go back to being 100% live meetings in the future. Some meetings will go back to being live, some meetings will stay virtual, some meetings will be hybrid. It's going to be a mixed bag, and we are all going to need each other to get there. So in the meantime, you can use CSR projects to engage your attendees virtually. You can use your CVBs as a connection to the city you should have been, and still help with some economic impact, much smaller, but eventually it'll all work out. It'll help, it'll come around. And CVBs, you're gonna need to think in a new way, because the world is changing and everything is changing in it. So you're gonna have to think about ways that you can reach out and you can be helpful in a new way. And this is some way that you can give back to the city that you love so much, that destination that you have worked so hard for so long, and something that you can do that can drive engagement and marketing and all of those things that you're working so hard for to stay alive in right now, when it is a strictly virtual world. And there is my big idea. So I thank you for listening to the end for that. And now, for your tiny tip for joy for today, getting off all the heavy stuff, buy a plant. That's it. Buy a plant. Plants, they bring joy. They do. They clean the air, they brighten your mood. And I promise you, a nice little plant sitting by the window with the sunlight shining in, because plants need light, will bring you joy. And if you're not very good at keeping plants alive like me, there are plants that are harder to kill than others. Like, for instance, a cactus, a succulent. Those are a little harder to kill. Ooh, and one of those spider plants. One time I couldn't even kill those. So there are plants out there in the world, and we're not traveling. So people that traveled all the time that could never have a plant, you probably could have a plant now. So buy a plant. It will bring you joy. That's it for today, but I would love to hear from you. So please comment and share your thoughts with me on these videos. And if you have any ideas on how the events industry or the world can bridge this gap between the technology we're living in and the live world we once had, please let me know. I would love to hear your ideas, and that would make me so happy to get some feedback on my videos as well. So in the meantime, though, I'm always available for speaking or for moderating your event. In fact, I have one coming up next week that I'm looking forward to. So that's it for today. My name's Anissa Ladd. I hope you follow me on all my socials. This is all Anissa: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So that's it for today. Have a great day. In the meantime, I will see you all soon. Stay positive, stay healthy, and stay safe. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.